As of today, Fallout 76's Battle Royale mode has been out for 1 month. Over that time, we've seen, honestly, not a ton. The mode got its release, it got one update, and it was also extended by Bethesda to last indefinitely. And more or less in this video, what I want to do is give more of kind of a review-esque on the mode, reflect on it overall, some of the major problems that have popped up. Not really in a way to kind of hate on the mode or to degrade Fallout 76, but hopefully for feedback. Bethesda has been pretty vocal about wanting community feedback around this mode, and I think there are several things they can improve on, and several things they're already doing right that they can expand on. In this video, I just want to give not just my first impressions, but my impressions after playing this mode fairly regularly for the past month, both in my personal time and for filming videos that you see like this one. If you do enjoy the content or want to see more in Fallout 76, a new update that is seemingly fairly large should be on the way, as well as additional DLC, so you can subscribe to get tuned into that. But otherwise, first, taking a look at Fallout 76's Battle Royale mode, a brief synopsis if you've never seen it. It's fairly similar to other Battle Royale modes, having the typical, you have to go find all your weapons, there's a closing ring of fire around you, but it of course has its own twist to make it a bit more unique, things that are uniquely Fallout. The camp building system is here, so you could build your own little base in the mode, as well as bring over schematics, so you could place down a pre-built base, and it's all totally free, and honestly could be a huge part of this mode if more people would take advantage of it. But when you do take advantage of it, it can create some really awesome experiences with base-to-base combat. Creatures spawn in this mode, so sometimes you'll have a giant scorch beast fly down and really screw up whatever your original plan was as far as engagement, and even other things like being able to launch nukes in this mode that can have a permanent impact on the map and honestly just an overall huge influence. And of course, one of its most defining features being a Fallout game, it also does have the special and perk system, so you can use your own perks on your character. Once you unlock these perks and equip them, you'll be able to use them every single game. There's no restrictions after you unlock them. So that's the playing field. It's definitely a lot of fun. I've been enjoying this mode a lot. If you played other Battle Royales, I highly recommend giving this one a try. It's one of those modes that's different enough that it definitely feels unique. Although, over the past month, unfortunately, some of the issues with the mode have started to surface. Figurative cracks have started popping up, and although they are without a doubt fixable, they definitely are there at least right now. So one of the first big ones, and hopefully this gets fixed or improved in the future, is player count. It doesn't actually seem like there's not enough people playing this mode, at least based off how fast you could find matches. Every time I queue up to play Battle Royale, I find a match relatively quickly, within a minute or so. I think the longest time I've ever waited was maybe 1.5 to 2 minutes at particularly odd hours. But in general, I could go match to match with very little wait times. The issue comes in actually filling out those matches. It's not totally clear to me, at least, if this is a byproduct of the matchmaking system or a byproduct of there just not being enough players. But as of late in this mode, I've noticed that my past games are just not full. The cap on this mode is 52 players, and at launch, I consistently got that, and it was a lot of fun. But if you actually look at my past 10 games, and if you actually average those numbers together, that's not 52, and honestly not even close to 52, which honestly isn't that big of a deal. This could be fun with 30 to 40 players also. The problem is, at least in my eyes, it's having a fairly significant impact on the pace of gameplay. Now I notice as of late, as I play this mode, if you spawn into one of the high profile areas where a lot of people tend to spawn, you'll get into some very fast paced and action packed gameplay right off the bat, having to take down multiple squads or getting taken down yourself. And the first 5 minutes can be action packed and a lot of fun. But then, due to there just not being as many players fleshing out the rest of the map, I've noticed that there's kind of a lull, where maybe there's 15 players left, and the map is still massive, because it's a map and world space designed to fit 52 players, but the game only launched with 38. So then you spend a lot of time running around, just moving from circle to circle without seeing much of anyone. This is naturally a problem with any Battle Royale mode, but I think with this one, and recently with these player count issues, it's become particularly annoying. I find now in games, if I make it through that initial rush, there's a lot of downtime where I'm just kind of wandering around, or honestly just me and the people in my squad messing around with random things around us. This seems like one of those things that could be pretty easily fixed, whether it be making the lobby time a bit longer so it tries to fill out those servers, or even alternatively just make the map a bit smaller. It doesn't have to be the same size every time, and it seems like it wouldn't be that difficult to change it. So if at the time of game launch and where you pick your spawn location, there's only 32 players, it'll shrink the map by, let's say, 30%, or the circles will close faster. Hopefully that would up the pace of gameplay and just make it all around a lot more enjoyable, like it was on launch. But one of the other really broad and overreaching issues I think I see with this mode is one that's honestly from Fallout 76 as a whole. A mistake that Bethesda made with the initial game, and I think they're continuing with here, and that is just infrequent patching. There's several minor things with this mode that are really broken or annoying, whether it be the frog legs perk card that makes you jump really high, and once you unlock it, it's really overpowered. You can take it every single match and be quite a force to be reckoned with in every single match, but you only unlock it through RNG, so I know people out there who are very high level and still haven't unlocked the perk card. It's basically at a must-take status, but there's a lot of players that simply haven't gotten it yet. Bethesda has confirmed they're going to be patching this, and they're going to be fixing it, although they confirmed that several weeks ago. This is one of those things that I think deserves a hotfix. It's a very widely discussed issue with the mode that's been known for a while. I'm sure it's led to many people to rage quit this mode or just wait for the fix to go live. And this is just one example, but I think the patching schedule overall is just a bit too distant. There's some of these persistent issues that just should have been fixed, I think, a little bit sooner. Things that are known, acknowledged by Bethesda, but still remain there. There also are several exploits that I haven't had too much issue with, but when you find them, or when you find someone that is just overtly hacking, it's annoying, it's frustrating. And it's things like that I wish they were just a bit more proactive in hotfixing or patching out. Although, to derail the hate train for a second, this is definitely not an overall problem with this mode as compared to Adventure Mode. On release, Fallout 76 had a massive amount of bugs. On release, the Battle Royale mode was actually fairly bug-free, and Bethesda has done a really good job keeping the bugs in this mode to a minimum. Just in general, there are very few bugs. I think they have to be more proactive when it comes to balancing the mode though. We did get one update to the mode and a general stability update to Fallout 76 yesterday. Both of those brought great and much needed improvements, and although Bethesda does tend to go for these large-scale patches, I think the occasional hotfix, when required, would have overall made the gameplay experience a lot more enjoyable. Which, speaking of, one of the other really annoying things about this mode is the way perk cards, and specifically duplicate perk cards, are handled. Naturally, specking out your character is a major part of this. Some perk cards are really good, depending on what build you're going for, and some other ones like frog legs are just always really good. But there's an issue right now in the mode where when you unlock a perk card, you get it from a perk card pack. Except there's no prevention from getting duplicates, except the duplicates are literally useless. You can only use one copy of a perk card. It's not like you can upgrade it, it's not like you could get rid of the duplicate. You'll just have several of the same thing sitting there for no reason. You can only use one of them at a time. All the while, you maybe are still trying to find that one other perk card that you still can't gain access to. It seems like a fairly easy fix to this would just be making it so if you have a perk card, you can't unlock it again. I think Bethesda is hesitant to do that because it would just make it so once you hit a certain level, you get all the perk cards. But it certainly is kind of weird how there's very high level players out there that are arguably at a disadvantage because they still haven't just gotten that perk card, because RNG Jesus is not being kind to them. For whatever reason, in Fallout 76 overall, Bethesda is really reluctant to add in non-voice communications, but that would be a much welcome and needed thing in this mode. People have been requesting text chat for the game in general for a very long time. And although yes, I still think that would be awesome to get, I think some kind of new emotes or a way to communicate with other players without just requiring a mic in Battle Royale would vastly improve it. If you have a team that doesn't communicate, you're at a significant disadvantage, regardless of their skill level. If you're good, but you can't actually tell what's going on with your teammates, it doesn't really matter that much. A lot of other Battle Royales have already implemented this. It's relatively minor at first glance, but in gameplay, it would have a massive impact day to day, and I think it's one of those things that we have to see added at some point. One of the other kind of weird things around this mode is the lore, and I think it's one of those things that just has to be improved in the future. The way it works is, by leveling up in Nuclear Winter, you're going to unlock a variety of new things. Some cosmetic items, some camp items you could use in Adventure Mode, but also access to lore in Vault 51. That'll give you the backstory of the experiment going on here, which is the basis for Nuclear Winter. I'm really not a fan of Bethesda doing lore behind PvP. There's a lot of people that kind of agree with me here. If you're a typical Adventure Mode player and you want to find out the backstory of Vault 51, you have to jump into the PvP mode to actually get access to that, which is weird. It's not the typical formula. But even still, if Bethesda is going to persist and continue to keep this lore behind leveling up, because I do kind of understand why they do it, they definitely should implement a better mechanic for consuming it. Right now, the only way to consume the lore is in the waiting period before the Nuclear Winter mode begins. A waiting period that sometimes might only be 2 minutes. So you have 2 minutes to A, find where that new lore that you just unlocked is, and 2, actually consume the lore and digest it. which just doesn't lead to enjoyment. There's a lot of cool stuff in here, a lot of cool holotapes, terminal entries, everything. But the way it feels so rushed and that you have to kind of immediately kind of jump to it and try and get it done really quick, I think could be improved. There's definitely a better way to do that, whether it be implementing Vault 51 into adventure mode, because right now you can't access this location in adventure mode, or just giving you a way to explore the vault on your own and actually consume things at your own pace. I know that to some of you it might sound like I'm just tearing apart this mode, or I think it's this horrible thing added to the game. I really don't. I think it's a great addition. In this video, I really want to focus on some of the issues that have stood out to me playing this mode and give feedback around them, so hopefully they get fixed, not just to point out the issues, but to hopefully be productive with it. Outside of that, naturally with this mode, there's a lot of room for additional content that I think would just be really, really cool. There's a lot of weapons that are just not in this mode that are in the vanilla game of Fallout 76. Things like the LMG, certain other rifles that would be cool and fun to use, and I don't really know why they're not in the mode, but hopefully that's something we see added in. I think also with this new PvP focused mode, adding in a bunch of additional weapon attachments would be a cool way to kind of bring updates to both this mode and the main game. More regular balance tweaks and changes to armors, weapons, and perks is something I would personally like to see. With Fallout 76 overall, Bethesda hasn't really done a ton of balance changes. There are many updates that have had next to nothing in that category, but when it comes to a PvP mode, I think just playing around with things and regularly changing or tweaking them would keep things exciting and interesting. Changing up the meta of Fallout 76's Battle Royale on a periodic basis would definitely keep me a bit more interested, rather than just striving for the same items and armors every single game. I actually really like how there are cosmetics that you can unlock through this mode. I think that's a cool addition. I think it'd actually be really cool if they did limited time events with this, such as a 4th of July event, where everyone's wearing this very 4th of July themed suit, and maybe playing during this 3-day period will unlock you some additional items. But at the same time, maybe introduce a twist on the gameplay, make fireworks a component and how that could be a distraction or a weapon against others. And really on that topic, I would love to see additional modes, a solos mode, so I don't have to squad with 4 people, a duos mode, so I could just squad with one other friend. Even if they just did those for a limited time, if they went through various experiments on a weekly basis, or even 1 week during a month. So during the first week of every month, you'll have the kind of seasonal experiment, and we'll see what gets a permanent addition based off how many people enjoy those. It's little things like that that might be relatively simple to implement, and I think would just be a lot of fun and a twist up on the mode that would keep people interested on a consistent basis. Because as of right now, I found myself kind of getting bored of Fallout 76, but also with Nuclear Winter. Because for a month now, it's kind of been exactly the same. We got one update that patched out some of the existing bugs, but it didn't bring many balance changes or new mechanics that were interesting or fun to try. Hopefully this next one does, but at the same time, I think that's something they should be toying with on a more regular basis. So those are my overall thoughts and opinions about Fallout 76's Battle Royale mode. All around, a good addition to the game, but one that certainly could use some improvements. And to me at least, I really feel like the future of the mode is kind of teetering on those improvements. If we get them, I think the mode can succeed, if Bethesda really puts in the effort to try and make it succeed. But at the same time, I think if they continue down the path they're on right now, with periodic and far out updates, that we'll slowly see this dwindle and dwindle until it gets a burst of players every update, but all around doesn't remain super popular. Either way, those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours in the comments down below. As always, again, I thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I should have another upload coming out later today, but until then, I thank you for watching again, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.